All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Winterwolf here. Kingsley going to be on the other side. We've got Andor episode 2 because lots is already in motion with this show. Lots of subplots still kind of ticking away. They're building up to something big in a lot of different areas. But I think the King and I are going to have separate and different opinions here because I'm seeing cracks in the foundation. But I think he's seeing a road to Star Wars salvation. Let's get into it.
Yes, I am. I think that's...
Oh, never mind. Animation. All right, now you can say yes, I am, and I'll cut out all this in the middle.
Yes, I am. I think this is starting off to be a very nice chapter 1. This three episode drop here, and this is that middle that kind of branches the first one to the third one.
So we got a lot going on in this episode. We got one of the main thrusts here is that Andor is captured, or he's still in captivity by the guerrillas that kind of bagged him as he was trying to drop off the stolen TIE fighter. So there's a lot going on with them. We get your buddy Cyril back. Everybody remember that guy? Small security guy? Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, corporate security. Corporate security.
Now, and now
he's deputy inspector.
And now he's senior manager of the Department of Weights and Measures. Yeah.
Our standards and
guy, whatever it was. And he meets the new guy and gives him the same speech that he got when he got there.
Yeah,
which was pretty hilarious. I'll give him that at least they did that. We got Tay, that's Mon Mothma's friend, starting to crack a little bit. They made an interesting point there that, I got involved to help with the rebellion because I believe in it, but I didn't think my business interests were going to be hurt by rebel activity. And I'm starting to have second thoughts because my wife left because I'm broke or I'm going broke. So they're doing some stuff with that, which is kind of interesting. I'll give them a lot of that. I'm trying to think, were there, and we got the Imperials showing up for real on what's Farm Planet even called? Did they give that a name?
They did when we first flew in there. Yeah, when they first showed Brasso there and Bix there and the droid there. And who's the other guy? He was the brother of the one who helped Bix when they
Willen? Something like Willen. They call him Will, but his name came up on the subtitle. I think it was Willen.
Yeah, because he's the brother of the guy who's kind of Andor's friend, but it would also help Bix when she first got captured in episode 3 when the corporate security came down there to issue a warrant on Andor.
Yeah, that's the little crew on the ship there, on the plane, and then the farmer and his wife and some other woman that run like the typical general store that kind of like, nothing's going on here, officer. Like very much those NPCs, and they were all cool. I thought that was all right. But we spend a good amount of time with, dude, maybe I'll just let you explain to me why it was good, because I don't buy it in this episode. My opinion is starting to slide. We spend a lot of time with Andor being captured and not doing anything while the world's dumbest group of guerrilla fighters squabble about who's in charge, and there's monsters out there. I mean, we have guns in secure position, but we're afraid of monsters, and they were dumb, dude. They were dumb.
There's key levels of dialogue you have to catch in this to figure out what they're actually trying to paint with this whole thing going on with them. Maybe it did go on a little too long. I might give you that one.
Lay these levels on me. What do you think I missed?
So when they're talking and Andor goes, he knows who they are, who their leader was, everything like that. He knows who they are. These are rebels.
Yep.
They are rebels. But it's showing you the level of fighter that they have and how they're going to have to change if they're actually going to take on the Empire. You're going to see that they went from an infantile set of mercs into what they became with the Rebel Alliance. This is that starting point where you see the crappiness of the beginning of the rebellion.
Dude, I don't know. They came across as comically stupid, though. I think I get the writing angle that you're talking about. But I mean, we're talking about a group of people that tried to resolve their differences with rock, paper, scissors instead of a knife duel.
That was a cultural thing.
Dude, I don't care. It's stupid. Pull a fucking knife. Be a grown up. We're not doing rock, paper, scissors in the swamp at night, surrounded by giant monsters that we're afraid of, to do rock, paper, scissors. And it only reminded me of
and that wasn't until episode 3.
Was that 3?
That was 3. That was
so they wasted even more time with these assholes in episode 2.
Episode 2 is that they're trying to teach their pilot how to fly this new experimental TIE fighter. And then it breaks into the argument at the end where they kind of separate into 2 camps. One that's at their trash Yeah,
Yeah.
they're at their one crash site, and then one took the TIE fighter. So that was that. It was pretty much the whole purpose was to point the incompetency of these soldiers in the Rebel Alliance.
Dude, message received. This is the biggest group of jackasses I think I've ever seen. It was painful to watch at different points, the squabble. And I feel like if there was any element of menace to it, like I'm trying to imagine imagine that scene happens in like Game of Thrones, right? Something like that. Like one of these guys is dying, like in the night, cutting his sleep over the difference. You know, there's no tension to it. Like they're just literally school. They're not even high school kids. They're grade school kids squabbling about who's in charge and whose brother ran off and ditched us. I mean, I guess that laid a level of scrutiny on the guy that wanted to be in charge. It was his brother that might have taken their transport ship and bailed, but he'll be back, I promise. Make me in charge. I don't know. The squabble went on a little too long there.
And yeah, I think I'll give you that it went too long, but the point was that Andor saw this, and he is the eyes of Luke and Rail. So
and he exploited their
idiocy.
He did. I mean, when he finally frees himself next episode, because he's still in captivity for this one, not doing spy shit, not really. He springs himself later. I thought that was some painful stuff there. Let's talk about the Rebel Moon Planet though, because I think that this is an example of the show being written present day and incorporating news from like, you know, America, like Western news topics, situations, like the whole like Bix Brasso will what was the droid's name? Emo 5 or whatever, BB Emo. I don't remember. The red one.
B. I just remember they call it B.
B. You know, the droid with dyslexia. They're on like a backwater planet doing blue collar work as mechanics and things like that. I think Brasso was a mine worker, but you know, they're all blue collar and know how to get stuff done. That's what you do in the world, right? But the Empire shows up to do their accounting of supplies. They're counting grain.
Their
like
audit.
Yeah. They're doing their audit, they call it. And the pressure point then is we have to stay ahead of them. We know they're auditing every sector, but you know, they're airborne and they're shooting runners or they're capturing runners. So we have to play it really cool, really calm, really collected. So there was some tension there, especially with the Imperial officer that rolls through. We know he's not good. We know he's a piece of shit. Instantly, we get that. But no one's outright afraid of them yet. Because, the peasants anyway. Because they're playing it real cool. Like, oh, boys, hey, what's going on? Welcome to the planet. And he's like, you got cold drinks. And the shopkeeper doesn't even look at him. Oh, yeah, they're over there in the cooler. And he just carries a box away. You know, like they're all like, be cool, be cool.
Yeah,
so I did like that whole setup. It was very World War II Nazi propaganda, like the Nazi officers getting into like the French village resistance kind of stuff, you know, hidden compartment under the ground. They could have used that. That would have been maybe something smart to have. But you heard them. They're like, hey, they haven't been here in 10 years for an audit. I don't know what they're going to do. So what did you think? What do you think of that whole setup? And but what I said earlier was, sorry, I hate to go back. Like they're using current day stuff here. We're dealing with an immigration thing in America, but this is how you tell a story like that and not bash people on the nose with it, because these are stories that happen in wartime where people flee and they're being pursued and they blend in. So I'm not gonna throw the woke flag on them for telling a story about people being undocumented immigrants. It's fiction.
And it's mostly that they were fleeing Felix after what happened at the end of season 1. Yep. And they're hiding. A unexpected audit happened. And so so they're was it, they didn't even say undocumented. They didn't say undocumented. They said that they said we don't have passports. That's all they said.
Oh, did I swear the word undocumented came up at least once? I think the Empire guy said they didn't say that to each other. They were like, we don't have the right IDs or visas. They definitely said visa. They 100% said visas at least twice, because that's what kind of perked me to hear about it.
Yeah, so they didn't think they would need a underground compartment because there's no reason for the Empire to come out there, because they have supply ships. You wouldn't have, like in Rebel Moon, a giant Star Destroyer that runs on coal show up and kind of take their Oh god. I always have to throw that out there. I just love that has it.
Dude. It had a
steamer.
Its star drive was a celestial head from X-Men that they filled with coal that moved a colony-sized ship from Warhammer or Independence Day sub light speed. I think I don't. Did they even do light speed in that shit?
I don't remember. I don't care.
Let's not talk about
It's
Rebel Moon
done.
again.
It
was so much fun to watch, though.
It's joining the vault of shows we're not allowed to mention anymore.
Secret Invasion, Ahsoka, and Acolyte. We're just gonna cram our first movie in there. Rebel Moon. Anyway, so the Imperials on Farm Planet, on Rebel Moon Planet. What did you think of the presence and how that all played out?
I think it played out well. It pretty much gave them a typical bomb under the table type situation. Like their time's going to run out eventually because they're going to come out there and audit that area where they're at. You get the first taste of them, and then you have the lieutenant making unwanted advances at that time on Bix.
You got to feel bad for this woman. You just do. Good God. I got to talk about a low point here, and I got to get your take on it. The last thing I need in Star Wars, honestly, like not even on a plot arc, just on like a theme level, is like anything rom-com at all. And the second Daedra walked into the apartment and Cyril was there, and I'm like, they're together.
I knew it. I knew it right away. The first time I saw Cyril, I'm like, them two are together.
Yeah, and dude, listen, it makes sense. He saved her life at the end of the last season, like when the shootout went down. Like, I get that. They have no chemistry. His character
that plays into both of their characters, though. That's how them two would be together in real life. Think of
stop justifying this mess.
Right? Think of go back to Cheers and look at Dr. Kramer and his first wife.
I get it. There's opposites attracting and mismatched pairs of socks all over the planet. I don't care. That character is so bad. I just don't give a shit. And she, like, literally, she smiles once the entire in like a season and a half, and it's terrifying when she finally does, because it's so out of place for her. And she's not an unattractive woman. I find her unconventionally attractive. Like she's not magazine cover. Like that's not who she is, and whatever. I'm not trying to pass any kind of judgment, but like people smiling is generally appealing. It's not. The RBF is real, and she should keep that. It's her move. Dude, I don't need to see them arguing about who's paying the cable bill or where they're going to go on vacation.
But you didn't get that.
I didn't until the next episode, and then they did stuff like that. And
the next episode I thought you would love, and I'm going to bring that up.
No, we'll get to 3. We're not done with 2 yet. Yeah. We're not done with 2. And so, dude, tell me more about why you like the effing odd couple up in this piece, because I thought that was my first moment of panic cringe for this series. So I'm like, uh-oh. Something's wrong.
I knew immediately what they were talking about when he was like, can we just fake that you're gone? Like you haven't come back. I knew exactly what was going to happen there. Your favorite character from season 1.
Dude, stop, please. Don't listen.
Like you have her poster on your wall sitting there at the
I got the figurine. I got the collectible. I don't.
That's right.
I don't. I can't move the camera, but I don't have it. Oh my God, dude. I'm saving the cringe for that episode when we get there in a couple of minutes. Yeah, I want to say though, I got special note here, right? I do have a special note here that the rock paper scissors game was episode 2.
Yes,
because he escapes by the end of. Did I say that episode 1? Did I get that wrong already?
No, I thought that was at the beginning of episode 3 because the radio contact happens
exactly
in episode 3.
The episode wraps here where he gets free, and it was kind of cool how he got free. The 2 groups are squabbling. He boots a secret compartment that kicks open a blaster. He's able to free himself. And then I'm like, all right, he runs. Dude, he's like a half a mile into the jungle before the guy that he took down and tied up that was still conscious the whole time, right? Runs out and he's like, he's getting away. And then nobody listens to him.
Because they're fighting, because the animal come running through, ate like 2 of them.
That was kind of cool because that was an abrupt like smash from right in the right side. Like so, Andor bails on like the idiot Lord of the Flies guerrilla fighters who apparently King Z thinks are prototype rebel fighters. I don't buy it. They're cannon fodder, bro. That's all these idiots are. And he ditches them. That's the best part. It's like he's like, "Nah, I'm out. You guys are all dead now." That's a wrap.
There are 3 meal bars and that disgusting fruit they had to eat.
Dude, I'm like, guys, you have guns. Shoot the animal. Shoot it. barbecue it, you're good to go, right? And then Andor's like, there's a tarp over there. You idiots should probably collect water. Like, what kind of gorilla don't know that? I knew that. I've never been in the rebellion.
These are your first level, like level 1 rebels. They haven't leveled up. They're like the people in Lexington who just picked up their local musket and they're trying to take on the world's biggest army.
Shot it backwards. That the first shot around the world was the one that went through the guy's eye as he looked down the barrel. Dude, these no, that's not who these people are. These are the people that die first in every zombie apocalypse movie ever because they're idiots. And I guess they are dying first. Never mind. So so I guess that holds up.
Dude, they have the different groups everywhere.
I know,
this was one of those
everywhere, and we saw that. We saw a little bit of that through season 1 as they're getting together. We saw that definitely in Rogue One, where we know that Forrest Whitaker's group is operating kind of over here doing their own thing.
The rebels don't even want to mess with.
No, right, because he's the rebel of rebels.
Yeah.
It wasn't in season 1 where like one of the groups sold. Oh yeah, it was Rebel 1. It was season 1. They had to sell out one group that was going to do a strike on one location in dangerous sector to draw attention.
Because they don't want to give up their asset. They found out they would
for the heist. Right. So, dude, I think that episode 2 for me mostly a bust. I forgot to break out the new 10 scale. If I was going on a 10, I'm not dropping it all the way into the gutter. I thought episode 1 started well, finished okay, was interesting. So I was gonna give episode 1 an 8 if we had the scale out. I got to go down to like a 5 on this one because the Lord of the Flies stuff went on too long. I don't like Cyril at all. Like they gave him the weird Norman Bates treatment in season 1, but at least he saved Daedra at the end of the season. But I felt like that was enough. I don't need their relationship going forward. And you're right, we're going to talk about that when we do our episode 3 review. It's obviously a central block of what this show is going to be about. So I'm not looking forward to that. I will say that having Mon Mothma have increasing stress with Tay, who's now like, I might need funding from other people. And then he starts looking at the mob guy. And then Luthen's like, nope.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna fly.
You have to remember that they brought the Bob guy in because people were starting to look into her finances and money was disappearing.
They were trying to launder money.
So this guy was there to cover that up and cover up her losses from her personal account that equaled what was being paid to the rebels. Right. So this guy introduced them. And he was reluctant to be brought in. And then, of course, Luthen Rail's there, and he's watching all of this. His eyes are everywhere.
And you gotta love Mon's kind of naivety because he's like, he can't leave here, right? And she's like, what on earth do you mean? And he's just like, he Luthen rails her face. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. He's like,
he gonna die.
We're going to have a meeting back in my office. We will find a number.
Right. And I like that. I like that they keep hitting that. Without it felt, I don't want to sound like, I don't want to say like it felt cool, but like that was solid. That was a good word choice. I really like how she kept sticking that because they reflect back to that line in episode 3 where because she reiterates, because this whole thing takes place in like 10 seconds. It feels like all 3 episodes. It's like one night. And she's like, no, we'll find the number. But by the end, as we saw, they weren't finding the number. So
yeah. So you have to, I think it's over 3 nights. The wedding is a 3-night event.
It's condensed. It's because the wedding is 3 days. And even by the end of the 3rd episode, they're married. They're having the big party at the end. We're going to talk about that in that review. But I think that was only the 2nd night of the proceeding. So I think there's going to be some bleed. No, they can't because there's a time jump, isn't there? Between the first 3 and the second 3?
Yep, there should be a time jump. At least that's what they hinted at. Tony Gilroy came forward and he was saying that there will be more time jumps in there to tell this story. So it's like it's not going to be like season 1 where it's like one continuous over a set period of time.
Yeah, they had to do a lot of condensing for storytelling because I think they lost a certain number of seasons. Like there was a planned 3, 4, 5 season arc or something. I think this is it. Like I think they crushed everything they had down to these 2.
They got approved for 2 seasons, 2 12 episode seasons.
Cool. All right. So that's a 5 for me. I think at best, having gone around the circular logic in my head. What do you think out of 10? What did you give the first one? Let's just get that on the board first.
So the first one I would put as a 8 for a opening episode. I would take this one down to a 7 because it's the glue episode. It did exactly what it's supposed to do to move us into the third one to tie the 3 together. So that's why I put it a 7. I didn't have any down points. I wanted to see how things progressed, and that's what I got, and that's what we were given. So yeah, 7.
All right, you heard it from the man. I think that'll do it.